Welcome to a deep dive tutorial on product creation in Inflow. We're grateful to have Kevin from Inflow with us today. Welcome, Kevin.
Hi, Lance. Hi, everyone.
So this video is going to cover product creation and also the product import spreadsheet. Kevin, will you show us how to create a product?
Yeah, absolutely. I can do that. So you can you can create a product from a few different avenues. Generally, if you're starting fresh, clicking on the plus icon of the inventory, going to new product, and you're going to get this pop up here. And in Inflow, we have four types of product, with stock being the most common. And essentially, you would just type in your product name here. So
I want
let's say,
to make a comment here. This comes up a lot for small business owners, especially those migrating from QuickBooks, where previously not a lot of thought was put into what product to make. And
Mhm.
if you want to scale and barcode scan, consider keeping your product number, say, below 8 characters, alphanumeric, no dashes, no spaces. And also, if you're unsure what to do, consider creating product categories first with, say, a two alpha character abbreviation to abbreviate the category. So a full name for the category and then two abbreviations for that, or excuse me, two character abbreviation for that, and then an unintelligent number. I find that is just a super simple way to create products, two alpha characters, 3 to 4 unintelligent, just sequential numeric numbers. It's easy to read, easy to identify, easy to scan. If your product is too long, the barcode becomes more difficult for the scanner to read. So just wanted to put that little plug in there since we're talking about creating new products. Probably should just throw in, hey, what's best practices too, just apart from the
Mhm.
software. And also I want to say for descriptions, it's good to have good full words, keywords, make it easy for people to find. If you're thinking what you're looking for, what's the first word that comes into mind, make sure that word is in your description. You'd be surprised how many people don't do that. So, you've got a product and description. Okay, Kevin,
Yeah,
go
no
ahead.
problem. That's great input there. And with Inflow, we actually have the ability to also generate SKUs and barcodes for you for your products if you don't have them already or they don't exist within your product. So that's one thing you can take off of your list. We'll automatically generate those for you, which you'll see when I create this new product. So let's say I'm making, just say a bicycle here. I'll create that product, and this is going to be a stock product for me. And I'll create that. And this is going to take me to our new product page. And you can see here that we've already automatically assigned it a SKU, part number here, and we also have a barcode. Now, these are internal, and if you already have registered barcodes, you can reuse those. Or when we talk about importing, you'll be able to import your existing barcodes for those products, or just scan them in. But you always want them to be short and concise. And with barcodes, we do have the option to make sure that they're formatted correctly to a barcode standard as well. That's something that you can enforce. On the product page, we have a unique name. That's going to be our identifier. We have the ability to add a description here. So I can say this, or sorry, bicycle that, or sorry, 5-speed bicycle with, seat and is blue. And I can keep adding other descriptions here. Maybe I can put matches helmet, blue blazer, you know, SKU number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that could be, if that gets pushed forward to any customer, they can see that. Or it also gives you the ability for your internal staff to make recommendations that would go along with this.
So what's that SKU that you're recommending in the description right there that's different from the other SKU?
Yeah, so this would just be the SKU for the matching helmet if we had one.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a way that some of our customers will use the description to make references to other things. Sometimes they're selling a repair part and they might recommend that, oh, you should also purchase a gasket or something to go with it. That's a common consumable. So
Mm,
they'll put that in the description as a note, either to the staff or to the customer, as well as a way to say, hey, you might also want to pick up this part.
yeah. Okay. And I see you have custom fields down there below.
Yep.
Just this is a demo file, so there's all kinds of data in example demo files, right? I have a question about the custom fields. We
Okay.
just mentioned it's good to create product categories. What's the best way to create product categories in Inflow?
Yeah, so if we're talking about the product categories here, we allow you to have a main and subcategory. So traditionally, you can come in, click here, and click Manage Categories, and you can go through and add those in. So for instance, if I came down to machines or I wanted to add this under exercise accessories, I could come in, hit Add Subcategory, and add, bicycle.
And I love that you have hierarchies for your
Mhm.
categories. And
Yeah,
I was assuming that category was a custom field, but that's nice. It's not a custom field. That's part of the design of the software.
Yeah, and the other part with categories as well is they're also able to be imported into, or sorry, used in reports for filtering as well, which is super useful.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, cool. So I'll
So
save
we've
that.
got a product name, a product SKU, and a product description. That's perfect,
Yeah.
especially in the e-commerce world, because online shoppers, they don't necessarily care about the SKU so much. They care
Hmm.
about the name, but then the SKU is nice to ID it, identify it, make it easy for pickers, and then you got a good description. Oh,
Yeah.
so when you were creating this product, you chose, what did it say, like stock type or something, and you
Yeah,
had
stock
some
part.
other product types.
Hmm.
Could you save this for a second and go back to that screen, the product creation screen? Yeah, right there. And okay, so you've got stocked products, serialized products, non-stocked product, and service.
Hmm.
What would be a non-stocked product? What would be an example of that?
Yeah, so a non-stock product or an example that I commonly use is like a styrofoam packing peanut. So let's say I'm sending you something fragile. I'm going to just dump a bunch of styrofoam packing peanuts into the box. I'm not going to make someone count out 300 styrofoam packing peanuts, right?
Yeah.
So for us, a non-stock product is really those items that you have to order, but you don't really care about tracking on an individual level anyways.
And from an accounting perspective, I imagine the serialized product and the stock product will hit your balance sheet, and the non-stock product and the service will probably just be expensed, right?
Yeah, I'd have to double check exactly what accounts they hit, but traditionally they would go into potentially your, if you're rendering services, your cost of goods sold, and then obviously hit your expense side as well for the cost related to those things.
Well, okay. What else
Yeah.
can we cover about products? Anything else? Any other attributes that might be good to mention?
Yeah, so I think there's oops, there we go. So a few things like you can always add an image and you can have multiple images of the product in there as well, if that helps you differentiate things. And one thing that you touched on, I think, Lance, that's really interesting is in the e-commerce world, we're all familiar with those Amazon titles when we look up product, and it's always the best, most awesome, incredible, shoehorn or whatever it's going to be. So with Inflow, you can have your e-commerce match on SKU, so that way you can, have a name for a product that's customer facing, that's very SEO friendly and helps people find it. But maybe internally you want a more simple or shorter product name to help your staff pick those products. You can do that, and we're going to match on SKU. So you can have an SEO name, customer facing, and then a regular name internally for your team.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, but I see a lot of, I shouldn't say but, okay, and I see a lot of
Hmm.
data down below. Can we scroll down and
Yeah.
and talk about the other data fields?
Yeah. So I'll just give another big shout out to this manage barcode button here.
Okay.
It allows you to add multiple barcodes per product. And that would be used in the case where, like let's say you purchase gloves and you don't really care whether you get name brand X or name brand Y. You just want to have gloves and see that you have 300 gloves in stock. You can use the manage barcode button to have different barcodes associated with the same product. So that way you're sort of creating a common product record within Inflow rather than having separate product records for each type of glove that you have in the system. Or sorry, each different brand of that same product if it's equivalent.
Yeah. Yeah, and the vendor often has his barcode as
Mm-hmm.
well, and then there's the OEM barcode. Yeah, there's
Yeah. There,
that's good to just program it to read whatever barcode.
yeah. So we have this add measurement button here, and this is great. I can put in information about the product, you know, 100 centimeters, 200 centimeters, and let's say 50 centimeters. And we could say that this weighs, 1,500 or, you know, 1,500 grams. It's a small bike. And then we get into units of measure. So this is super useful. This standard unit is what's going to display on your invoices or orders for what you're selling. So, it could be each, it could be unit, and I could even type in if I want to bicycle and then add that as a unit of measure there. And when I sell it, I'm going to sell, one each, and that's a bicycle. Or again, I can just type in bicycle. But if I buy this from my vendor and maybe they send me a skid with 5 bicycles on it, I can come in and say, hey, I buy this by the skid or pallet. Whoops, skid here. And then, that's 5 bicycles. So Inflow is going to know if I place an order for 5 skids to increase my inventory by 25 units in it when I receive that inventory in.
I
And
really like this type of setup of unit of measures and unit of measure conversion multipliers, where
mhm,
it's all on the part. So
yeah,
that really helps with the steel industry as well, especially if you're converting, say, um, length to weight, right? It's
yeah,
very unique to that type of steel, the gauge, the profile,
mhm,
and the part number. So every part number would have its own multiplier from weight to length
mhm,
because every steel type product is different. And I'm glad you showed us that. Thank you. So the stock unit measure that they view, that you view the part for your um for your stock, and then product, the sell and the purchase. Okay.
yeah,
All right. Um so yeah, can we scroll down and look at these
yeah,
other
absolutely.
fields on?
Yeah. So we have our overview, and this kind of gives us these two cards here. So we have our quantity on hand, and this is the amount of inventory that you have. So for example, I'm going to switch to a different product now, just to show you what this can look like. We'll save those changes. We'll come out to here, and we'll look at this product. So if I come down, I can see exactly how much inventory I have on hand of this product. In my case, I manage a few different locations. So I have my global total, and then I drill down into each specific location. From there, I can also drill down even further and see specifically in each of these locations. So warehouse, I have 198 in a shelf section I call A6. And I also have 8 in a section I call D5. These are sublocations. Or, aisle 1, shelf 3, I have 106. And then it's on a hanger, aisle 1, shelf 4. Maybe that's the front of the store. I have 104 here. And these sublocations are fully customizable to what you want them to be.
Cool. All
So,
right. And we'll
um,
talk about locations more on another
mhm,
recording.
yeah.
Um, what else?
Yeah. Over here, we have our pricing schemes. So essentially, the way we handle that is you can turn on advanced pricing, which gives you the ability to have a fixed markup. And essentially, what this does is rather than have a fixed price like MSRP, so I can have a markup. So a tier one customer pays 110% markup on this product. A tier two pays 90, and a tier three customer pays 80%. And now these are the pricing schemes that you assign to your customers. So anytime you make a quote, order, or invoice, that's the default pricing they're going to see, is whatever's assigned to them. In my case, MSRP is a default price that I have, and I can always just update that manually and say, this is $23 now.
Yeah. We'll have to do another video on just pricing too. That
Yeah,
that justifies its own video as well.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
And then
Okay,
there's,
so from the product screen, you can view inventory in stock. You can view all the different pricing tiers. What else can we see from this screen?
yeah, you can also see your cost of the product. So in this case, the cost is
Meaning the
obviously tied.
value of it, right? Like the asset value.
Yeah, the asset value.
Okay.
So this is also tied to purchase orders and manufacturing orders. So when you
Okay.
issue that PO or you create a manufacturing order, assuming you're using moving average, FIFO, or LIFO, we're going to update this cost field for you automatically based on the POs that you're issuing or the manufacturing orders that you're creating.
Okay. So maybe that wasn't what I was thinking of. Maybe that isn't the value. Maybe that's like the last cost or the next cost. The value I would think would be an average costing layer tied to the quantity in stock. Maybe
Ah,
that's
got you.
someplace else.
Yeah, so we would get that from a report. You could run a report to see what your total inventory valuation is, and then what the value of each of those, the sum of, all of 206 or 866 of these clevis hangers here.
Okay. So this is the overview tab on the product screen. What about the manufacturing tab on the product screen? What do we
Yeah,
see
so
there?
in the manufacturing tab, this product I don't manufacture anything on, but
Okay.
if I switch to a different product, like I make coffee in my system, I find everyone has a good grasp of, coffee and how it gets made. But essentially on this manufacturing tab, I have right here, right in the top corner, my per unit cost. And if I click the drop down, I can see my materials costs, my operation costs for this product, and then sub-assemblies within it. And my total cost to manufacture is 746 a unit.
Nice. Nice. And operations cost, is that like overhead and labor? Is that kind of how you view operations cost?
It can be whatever you want to ascribe to operations. And
Okay.
when we do that, we can add an operation. So if I had something like assembly here, I can then choose to add the cost, and whether that's a labor cost that's dollar per hour. So let's say, it's $15 an hour and it takes 5 minutes. I can put that in there, and that's going to give me a cost associated with that.
Okay.
So you can see it's $1.25. So it's
So
done
that's
that
how you
manually.
handle labor. When you were creating this product and we were talking about stock type product, serialized product,
Mhm,
non-serialized, and service, I
mhm,
didn't see that labor was on there, but
mhm.
now we see labor on the bill of material handled here. So
Correct.
that's a good thing to remember if you're setting up products. It seems like what you're saying, Kevin, is labor is not necessarily a product, it's a feature on a bill of material. Is
Yeah,
kind of what you're saying.
it
Okay.
it can be that. Obviously, if you're going to be invoicing somebody for labor or a service that you charge, like consulting, or maybe you're sending a technician somewhere and you want to bill for that time, you can definitely create that as a service item and put it on an order or invoice.
Sure.
This is
Yeah.
more internal, and hey, I'm running this coffee factory and I need to account for my warehouse labor or my factory labor in the build of this product. And whether you want to break it out as I have it for each operation on a dollar per time type setup, or per cost, or sorry, a per unit cost, you can assign it here, and you can define instructions about what each of these operations are. And when you watch the video for manufacturing orders, you'll see that a little bit more in action on those cards.
Yeah. Yeah. Be sure to watch our video on bills of material and manufacturing.
Yeah.
But this is a good just snapshot of this.
Yeah.
Okay, so product vendors. Let's take a look at that tab.
Yeah. So here at product vendors, Uh, if I were to buy this product, I could buy it from these 3 vendors. This is sort of the last vendor I bought from. Here's their product code. And then I have my vendor price for my purchasing unit of measure. So in this case, for this product, I buy a bag, and then this is what I pay for a bag of beans.
That's a good point. What if we buy from different vendors and each vendor has their own unit of measure? Is that a limitation in the software? Do we have to get creative with that, or is that part of the standard design that I'm not
Yeah.
seeing?
Yeah. So if your vendors sell them in different pack quantities or different sizes, that's a little bit more tricky to handle. If that's the case, you could always set it up to be just a 1-to-1. So, hey, I'm ordering 650 packs. I know that's 300, so I want to order 300 individual widgets. Uh, Traditionally, we are a 1-to-1. So this product, we assume you buy it by the bag, and that bag is always 50 kilograms. You could on the PO, get creative. And let's say I buy from a vendor that offers a 25 kilogram bag. I could put zero point 0.5 bags and receive in a decimal point that represents that, 25 kilograms is half of 50.
Oh, okay. So we've got vendors and the vendor product code. There's a code for each vendor. That's nice, and the price. And then order history. Let's take a look at that.
Yeah. So on the order history tab, you're going to see the orders related to this product, sales orders, work orders, because this is something I manufacture. And if I have a purchase order in here for this product, it would show up. But I also, with this glance, have the ability to see the status of those various orders. So this is a sales order that's unfulfilled, but I've invoiced it. Maybe I'm wanting the customer to pay before I deliver it. That's something that can be done, but I can see that status here. This work order hasn't started. This work order is completed. And there's this little box with this arrow popping out that allows you to go and view that record just by clicking it. So you don't even have to, copy this and then go look up somewhere else. We have the
Awesome.
date, where it is, quantity, and then the subtotal for that line item.
Okay. All right. Well, what's that last one? Yeah, movement
Yeah.
history.
Yeah, so movement history, this just shows you kind of like stock transfers, adjustments, but any changes in quantity that occur. Because we keep a record of all the inventory transactions, inbound, outbound, and what I'll call adjustments or changes, we have that record here on the product as well. And if you give me a little bit of freedom here, what I can do is show you one great feature for serialized products that are a little different. So in movement history and order history in particular, we have this serials column, which is the serial numbers that are on that order or in that inventory movement. And I can hover over it and see, like on this sales order, these are the 3 sales orders the 3 serial numbers that went out on this order. But I have the ability to search here as well. So in my system, if I look up this code or this serial number, maybe I'm investigating warranty, maybe I'm just going back to trace it because that's part of our SOP. I can come in and see that, hey, this serial number came in on this PO, July 22nd, 2022. And, if it has a 1-year warranty, out of warranty, I can't get anything on it. But I also see that it went out to this customer, it returned on that same sales order, and then it went out to this customer again.
Yeah.
So we do have a nice, easy way to track serial numbers for that purpose as well.
Cool. And I think that just about covers it. That's about everything for creating part. I know at the first of the video, we said that we would create a product and then also show the import. But let's do that on a different video. We'll have another video for importing the product and going over the import spreadsheet, doing exports and imports, and creating the product. So be sure to watch the next video on importing products in mass. Thanks, Kevin.
No problem. Thank you, Lance.